Good evening, family. Sean Good here, Executive Director of Choose 180. I had to pause for a moment as we were leading into going live and close my eyes and visualize all of you who are tapping in this evening and continuing to journey with us as we march towards justice. Earlier this evening, I looked at our RSVP list, and my heart was overwhelmed. I saw names of people who were at our first event when we were at the 180 Foundation offices in downtown Seattle. I know some of you remember how the rain was coming down sideways on that evening. And yet, 60, 70 or so of you packed in that office space and leaned into the vision that I had the opportunity to share. Heard Nina and Miguel speak and testified to the impact of our work. And then I think about our following year at the Pacific Tower and how we all gathered upstairs and that beautiful view overlooking the city of Seattle. And we shared in a special evening where my brother came on stage. And I testified to the impact that he's had on my life and how he continues to influence me as I journey towards justice. Or year number 3 down in Pioneer Square. A little bit of rain, some complicated parking, but a beautiful brick building and a layout that created a landscape for a terrifically emotional evening as we celebrated the passing of our dear friend and co-laborer, Von Montenegro. And then last year, as we offered our first ever virtual happy hour, or a virtual evening of choice, I should say. And as disappointed as I was that we couldn't be there in person with one another, I was grateful for how many of you tapped in and reshared the evening of choice after the fact and continue to lean in and join us on this journey. And here we are, year number 5. Can you believe it's been 5 years already? 5 years since our first evening of choice. 5 years since I've been on this journey with Choose 180. And with you, we've accomplished so much. I think about the first workshop that I went to when I joined the cause and how I sat in the back and cried with my wife, and as I couldn't imagine that I'd have an opportunity to steward a cause like this. And then when Pete Holmes reached out from the city attorney's office and asked, well, could this work with young adults? And we leaned in boldly and said, yes, of course. Not knowing, but confident that what it is we offer wouldn't be limited by age and it would be applicable to all, because nothing limits grace on the journey to redemption. And how we began to do that work, and how 90% of the young people and young adults that have engaged in our programming haven't returned to the criminal legal system when we follow up 12 months afterwards. The terrific impact that we've had and how that impact spun into other programmatic offerings, serving in schools, in relationship with our dear friend and soon to be transitioning out of her role as superintendent, Susan Enfield in Highline. And how we began to offer alternatives to suspensions and expulsions so young people would get grace instead of being kicked out of a classroom, and have the opportunity to stay engaged academically while they learn the tools necessary to thrive in that environment. And all those young people asked for something to do during the summer, and you stepped up and we created an entrepreneurship program. And we offered young people an opportunity to get paid to learn how to launch their own businesses. And the work just simply grew from there. Our relationships with the prosecuting attorney's office gave birth to an opportunity to work with young people whose behavior had been criminalized as felonies. And in lieu of suffering the stigma of that felony, we created a program where we could walk with them side by side for 6 months and that charge would get reduced or dismissed. And then we had the murder of George Floyd in the midst of this pandemic. And our young people said, we want to know what's next after protest. And so we launched an advocacy program so our young people could learn how to leverage their voice, their positionality, and their youthful zeal for long-lasting transformative change. And while they led by their enthusiasm, we led by our example and watched change happen in our community as well. From the Youth Right to Counsel that got passed in the city of Seattle, then the county, then across the state, So every young person has access to a public defender before acquiescing their rights to law enforcement. Or the rolling out of restorative community pathways in partnership with creative justice and community passageways and collective justice, and how that gave birth to a whole new vision of justice in our community, one that's based in community and thrives in community. 5 years, family. We've accomplished so much. And I'm cutting that short because I could simply go on and on. But what's beautiful and what's most magnificent to me isn't only that we've brought together a team of change makers and champions, many of which have lived experience directly with the criminal legal system and are daily advocating for long-lasting change through their service to young people, as well as their stance that they take when they speak against the powers of oppression in our community. Or the board that we've assembled that's reflective of our community and cares deeply for this cause in a way that they go forth and are champions in each of the areas that they live and thrive in. But it's you, our community of support, the many of you who regularly lean in with your volunteer time, who regularly lean in and offer to host virtual happy hours so we can advance our cause and share our message with others, who lean in with your treasure, with your monthly gifts, your annual gifts, and your consistent words of affirmation, your text messages, your retweets, your reshares, all the things you do to move this thing forward. We are because you are. And I am incredibly grateful and indebted to you for your commitment to our cause. We're going to continue this journey towards justice. And we are going to go farther than we could ever imagine because of you, the power of the collective us, and nothing can surpass that. This evening, you're going to be brought through our program by Brandy, our Director of Community Engagement, and Natalie, one of our board members. You're going to see a video that welcomes you into our new space here in our Choose 180 offices that we've put together to welcome young people from the community and create collaboration for our team members to dream out loud about what's possible in our community. You're going to hear from young people as they envision a world that's truly just, and our team as they tell you why they choose 180. And we are grateful that you are here, and I hope that you are able to find yourself within this special event on this evening. Before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors, the Alliance for Gun Responsibility, Brighton Jones, the San Mateo Family Foundation, Amazon, Hessel Fetterman, Columbia Bank, Lynn and Bruce Gibson, Seattle Seahawks, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and Magic Cabinet. Thank you. Thank you to our team, our board of directors, our staff, our volunteers, and of course, our community of support. We could not and would not be here without you.
It's been 10 years since the first 180 workshop was hosted inside of Zion Preparatory Academy in South Seattle. Over that period of time, thousands of young people who would have otherwise been lost to the criminal legal system have been embraced by the community instead of receiving a criminal conviction, and have been offered transformative grace, which has led to a commitment to Choose 180. Much could be said about the man who was there at the beginning, as his service to our region began long before the birth of Choose 180. From starting a charter school to pastoring a church, the national work he championed to bring healing to spaces where great hurt and harm had been done, and his commitment to being both a father to many and faithful husband are just a few of the accomplishments that set Doug Wheeler Jr. apart from the rest. This is why we are dedicating our newly remodeled space, the Doug Wheeler Jr. Collaboratory, to our founder, who 10 years ago launched us on this journey towards justice. This space was recently remodeled by local designers and artists, and community is central to the design and purpose. The Collaboratory will serve as a place to convene, innovate, share ideas, and build community in the movement. Innovation and collaboration are foundational to our effort. Although today in our region, there are several efforts in place to keep young people out of courtrooms and instead in community. 10 years ago, this type of partnership was unique and groundbreaking for many reasons. It was the belief of our founding board, the Community Leaders Roundtable of Seattle, and leaders like Dominic Davis and Terrell Dorsey, who championed the day-to-day efforts of our cause in its infancy that helped to create the landscape that we serve from today. In 2017, we became a nonprofit organization, and Sean Good joined the cause as our first executive director. The next 4 years were an investment of grace, love, and a persistence in elevating young people as possibilities to be developed and not problems to be solved. We continued developing workshops, expanded our services into schools, and invested in new opportunities to transform systems of injustice while connecting more people to our cause. We are proud and honored by all of you, our staff, board members, volunteers, young people participants, and our community of support who make us who we are today. The 2020-21 pandemic year was one of our greatest challenges, and we made it through together. We found new ways to support young people, be present, and make Choose 180 possible. We took our group workshops to a one-on-one model over Zoom. When our participants weren't able to engage online, our team met them in outdoor settings where they were, in community. From providing rental assistance to social distance school meetings to increased contributions, our community leaned on. We shifted to connect and grow our community through virtual happy hours. With everyone's incredible support, we expanded our team and now have more than 20 people on staff supporting multiple programs. We continue to be a support system grounded in the belief that young people are possibilities, not problems, and that healing and true justice are possible. We are 10 years on this journey, and on the journey, we will continue to create space for all of us.
Our journey has been incredible. It's great to be here with you all tonight. As Sean mentioned, I'm Natalie, board member at Choose 180, and I'll be your co-host for this evening. My beautiful co-host here, Brandy, is with me, and she is the Director of Community Engagement. How are you doing tonight, Brandy?
Thanks, Natalie. Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be here. This is my first evening of choice. I'm inspired daily by the members of our team and the young people we partner with. Everyone connects to healing and the possibility of community for young people. We're here together as a community of support for the incredible young people leading the way. Here are some participants from our summer internship program telling us about justice and where this journey is headed.
Hi, my name's Alasia. I was an intern here at Choose 180 this past summer. I think it's important to transform systems because the systems that we have now are not benefiting everybody. To have equality, for everyone to be equal, no more gun violence, no more violence in general, and just to be civilized with everybody. The types of communities I want to build are the community like Choose 180. They help give people opportunities to help better themselves.
Hi, my name's Gary. I was an intern here last summer for an entrepreneurship internship opportunity. I think it's important to transform our systems because it doesn't advocate for everyone, only certain types of groups, and it's not helping everyone as a majority. My vision for the world is to rework our systems, especially because of the amount of gun violence in our communities. The types of communities I want to build here in Washington is surrounded with open arms, just welcoming in general.
My name is Maylot, and I was a part of last summer's entrepreneurship program. I think it's important to transform systems because as systems are moving forward and developing, they are moving a lot more towards equality. And while it's important to give everyone equal opportunities, I think the most important way to transform our systems is allowing equity and working on an individual basis that allows resources for people who are struggling in different ways than others to make sure that everyone has an equal outcome instead of equal opportunity. My vision for the world is to create respectful and open environments that allow individuals from different backgrounds and individuals that are moving towards different career paths, places where they can share their creativity and knowledge. Choose 180 is such a great place for that because as I was entering the entrepreneurship program, I saw people who wanted to create different businesses than me, but every day that I came into the Choose 180 environment, I felt open to share my ideas and open to listening to others as well. I want to create communities that allow individuals, just like all the interns I met through Choose 180, to be able to pursue their dreams in creating their own businesses and being entrepreneurs and business owners themselves, while still being able to thrive in their school environment, since we are all young students ourselves, allowing us opportunities to be business owners but also students at the same time.
Hi, I'm Hope. I was a part of the Seward Park internship for Choose 180 this past summer. It's important to transform systems so that everyone is not affected by the negative choices that they made in the past. My vision for the world is a place where everyone can succeed and not be judged. I want to build communities that are safe and welcoming for everyone, no matter what you look like, your age, or your gender.
Hi, I'm Tavi, and I was a summer intern at Choose 180. I think it's important to transform systems because I feel like as the world is evolving, I think the system should evolve as well. And I feel like we're learning so many new things. My vision for the world is a safe place for individuals to express themselves, to not feel judged, a kinder place, and a more positive place. Communities that help support young people and guide them to the right path because they are the future of this world. And I think we should really encourage them to do the right thing and make right decisions.
Hi, my name is Jaden, and I was an intern for Choose 180. I think it is important to transform systems because some systems benefit some groups more than others. My vision for the world is a respectful place that gives everyone equal opportunities. I want to build a community that helps youth rehabilitate.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm one of the program coordinators here at Choose 180. The summer program was intended for youth to gain experience in job readiness skills, pre-employment training, and relationship building.
What we did was we learned what a business is and how to run a business.
We learned a whole bunch of other things, like we met with mentors and other local business owners, and we even traveled to visit businesses in our area.
For 7 weeks, the interns worked on business plans in which they pitched for a cash prize. They not only walked away with all cash prizes, but they also walked away with an amazing experience that they'll remember for the rest of their lives.
Thank you to Chris and the summer interns. These young people are incredible. We're all here daily connecting to the power of choice in order to move further toward the just visions we just heard. Natalie, you're a recent board member to Choose 180. Why do you choose?
Thank you for asking, Brandy. I choose 180 because of the intentional, impactful way this organization makes radical changes in these young people's lives, providing a safe space to learn, grow, create, and lead change.
My name is Omari Amili, and I choose 180 because the cycles of poverty and incarceration in my family stop with me.
I choose 180 because the voices of young people need to be heard.
I choose 180 because I want to be able to inspire someone who would have otherwise gave up on themselves.
Why do I choose 180? Because I got tired of walking around in circles, so I decided to walk in a straight line. And by doing so, I am now able to help young adults and youth walk in their straight line. That's why I choose 180.
I choose 180 because everyone is important and no one should have to heal alone.
As the first point in contact, it is important for me to connect you with the right resources that can help you become a success. And I choose 180 because Choose 180 brings hope, and change starts with hope.
Advocating for impactful changes to their communities.
Why I choose? Well, when we first began this journey together, I chose because of my brother and who he was for me and wanting to make sure other young people had the opportunity to experience the same. I chose because young people are possibilities to be developed and not problems to be solved. I chose because I know grace is a far better motivator for behavior change than guilt. Why do I choose today? I choose because of you, our community. Because I know you are with us, there's absolutely nothing that we can't accomplish.
Welcome back. Those stories were so inspiring. Brandy, you've been here since June. Why do you choose?
Thank you for that. I will tell you. First, I want to acknowledge how this is a night of joy and celebration for Choose 180. And also, it's a night of joy and celebration and some tenderness for me. Standing up here in front of all of you is definitely a step toward growth. It's facing a fear I had. And this tells me that I can do anything. Why am I nervous to be up here in front of all of you? Aside from the fact that when you're public speaking, you never know what people are going to think. Within the last 10 years, I had a family member who was incarcerated, and there was a lot of media intrusion I experienced with that. That was a really painful time that came with a lot of broken things. Broken relationships, broken hopes, broken plans, broken futures. I have been working really hard on myself for self-care, self-improvement, healing, doing all the things. I got jobs. I got jobs where I could work for positive change. I spent work days with people where we accomplished a lot. I spent quality time with friends. I love my friends. And have a wonderful, beautiful family. All of those things helped a lot to get me to a place where I could apply for a role with an organization that would change my life. Since I joined the team, I found that the hardened spots in my heart that I was carrying around, the ones that were telling me to hide myself and to watch out for certain people and systems or media outlets because they might try to hurt me, and the hardened part that told me to wish pain on them, they went away. What I found is, in this community of people who welcome you in your imperfect humanity, and who, when you share your pain or your anger, they don't try to fix it. They're just with you. For me, I feel safer than I have in a long time. I'm so grateful. Every day is a step toward the future I want to build for my little ones and for the young people that we're working alongside. I'm grateful to this team, to my family and friends, and to all of you for the exciting possibility that we're creating and for the chance at healing and restoration. I look forward to getting to know you all. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Brandy. And we're so happy that you're part of this journey with us. Thank you all for being here. And it is a gift to work to see all of these different perspectives and to invite you all to be a part of it. We have so many ways to connect with our cause. For starters, sign up for our newsletter in the link in the chat, and we'd love to stay in communication with you. If you'd like to invest your time, talent, or treasure, you can click the link in the chat, hit the event link in the YouTube page, and visit choose180.org to see all of the ways to stay engaged. Our work is lifted up and sustained in large part by your one-time or reoccurring gifts, as well as stock and in-kind contributions. This, in addition to your willingness to volunteer, helps us to create new connections by sharing our efforts with your networks. If you have any questions, you can contact info@choose180.org, and a member of our team will be in touch with you. We hope you've enjoyed your time with us, because I sure have. For those who are interested, we have Sean available to answer a few quick questions for 15 minutes, so feel free to drop your questions in the chat. And Sean, welcome back.
Brandy, can you stay, please?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Emily, this is the part that's unscripted, and I know it's not going to surprise many of you who know me, but with so many transitions in the program, I just wanted to pause for a minute and express my gratitude. Not everybody knows the entirety of your journey, the strength that it took for you to come up and co-host or even share part of what it is that you've experienced in these months that we've been traveling together and the many years that preceded that. And with great courage and great strength and a commitment to who it is you want to be moving forward, you did exactly that. I'm honored by you. I'm grateful for you. And we, as an organization, are better because you continue to choose us. Thank you. I love you. And I'm grateful that you brought your whole self to this space.
Thank you, Sean. Thanks, everyone.
Well, family, talk about succinct and efficient, right? Get you in, get you out, and create the space for Q&A and dad jokes. Yes, there's absolutely going to be dad jokes. Thank you, Natalie, so much for co-hosting tonight and for serving on our board. And you heard her message loud and clear. Lean in with your time, treasure, and talent in ways that are personally meaningful to you. We have to continue to march forward on this journey towards justice, and we certainly do that with all of your support. I have this Google sheet that Jayanna on our team created that she's going to begin to send questions to. So I'm going to give it a couple minutes before we lean into that, and I'll warm up the moment with, well, I mean, what else but dad jokes. And because we're in October and it's Halloween, I figured I'd offer some dad jokes that would be transferable for your children that may be watching now. I know the Prince kids might be watching. Hi. And you know, Nichelle and John, I think your kids might be watching too. So here we go. You ready? What do you call a haunted chicken? A poultrygeist. Yeah? Maybe. I can't tell. That's the worst part about this whole virtual experience. I'm assuming you're laughing because that's what best serves my ego. And if you're not laughing, it's because it's a dad joke and you don't have to. All right, one more and then I'll go to the questions. Okay, one more. Why did the vampire not want to go to the business meeting? Because he was afraid of the stakeholders. Yeah, you got it. You're picking up what I'm putting down. And trust and believe, if your question is there more dad jokes? There are plenty in the database. Yeah, I dropped it. That's a bonus one. That's a bonus one right there. So I'm going to pull out my phone, and I'm hoping that there's questions that may have been updated here. All right. This is where the technology part comes in. And I'm like, man, will this work the way that we intended it to? Here we go. Still working on questions. Y'all got questions for me? Are you guys all dropping out the stream right now? I mean, did we go from like 97 to like 10 because I started telling dad jokes? I mean, because if that's what we're dealing with, then I can stop with the dad jokes. Darrell just said he was plugged in until I started telling dad jokes. Darrell also said that he was distracted because of the plug that's behind me on the wall right back there, and that was getting in the way. I told him to stay plugged in. Get it? Plugged in. It makes sense, right? Yeah? And Darrell just said if I were a dad, he'd be offended. You know what, Darrell? I'm just going to put your text on blast because that's all I can do. And Chris on our team is saying cut the stream. All right, this is not actually how this is supposed to go. Are we seeing questions in the chat at all on your side? Let me, because you all know that I'm fine with the improv. Oh, another dad joke. And I'm looking at the stream and there's still 112 people paying attention. God bless you. Well, I got more. What did the two goldfish say to each other in the tank? Who's driving this thing? Get it? The tank? Okay, we got a question.
How have legislative victories changed your vision, raised your sights, inspired you?
Yeah, how have legislative victories changed vision and inspired? We always believe as an organization that programming is a stopgap. It's an opportunity to pause the pain from occurring long enough to transform the very things that are causing the harm in the first place. And that if we're not intentional about transforming the systems that cause the harm, then we could benefit in perpetuity from the suffering of young people. And so what the legislative victories have done for us is affirmed what it is that we've always known, that if we can get to a place of system transformation, we can alleviate the need for our cause to exist in the way that it does today. And when we see those gains and we see those wins, it's affirmations on this journey towards justice, telling us that we're on the right track, that people will evolve their ideologies, people will change their perspectives. And when they see the impact of grace, a transformative grace, they'll lean into the possibilities instead of being bogged down by the problems. So yes, it's inspired us terrifically and given us renewed vigor for what it is we've always hold at our core to be true, that transformed systems is the pathway to liberation. And we must support the youth who are impacted as we journey that way together. Any other questions have come up so far?
Yes, how can we support Choose 180 in our workplaces?
Yeah, there's lots of different ways. I'd say it kind of depends on where you work, but I'll give you a general answer. How can you support Choose 180 in your workplaces? Well, first and foremost, I love to talk about this stuff at no end. And so if your work creates the space for me to come in and share our mission and our vision and the direction that we're heading and how we believe all of you can join us on this journey towards justice, please lean into that info@choose180.org inbox. Let us know and we'll step right in. And if you create the space, we'll show up and speak. I'd say that's one way. And we're also looking for unique folks to volunteer their time and their talent, especially for like the one-off volunteer stuff. Like we have an HR committee that's full of rock stars and they're HR professionals. I don't always understand them because I really have struggled with HR, not because of like the reasons why some people struggle with HR, but I like to do everything really quick and HR is always like, slow down. We have to build a process for that first. And I'm like, a process? Let's just make it happen. But because we have that support, we're able to build an organization that lasts a very long time and will transcend some of the pitfalls that may come about without that type of wisdom in the space. So a variety of different ways you could lean in with your professional expertise or create the space within your company for us to come and share our work so we can move forward together. Other questions that are coming up?
How has the pandemic affected how many youth you're able to support?
Yeah, how has the pandemic affected how many youth we are able to support? Oh, first and foremost, can I shout out my team right here? Our team has worked diligently and tirelessly throughout the entire pandemic. When people were laying folks off, we kept everybody on, and we continue to push forward and find innovative ways to honor our commitment to serve young people. They quickly moved from an in-person format and finalized our curriculum so we could begin to deliver that virtually. Everybody started delivering these virtual sessions so we could make sure every young person had a chance to receive community instead of a criminal conviction. It's absolutely transformed the way that we engage at this period of time. And we are so excited for a future where we can get back in space with young people instead of the virtual interaction. But until then, that has sufficed for us to honor our commitment and make sure young people experience transformative grace. Absolutely has transformed the landscape of our work. And for some ways, we've learned from it and we'll be able to move forward and be better at the practices when we do get back together in person. Yeah, other questions that have surfaced, team? Are they now in the Google chat? Okay, there we go. The summer internship program was new to me. Could Sean summarize all of Choose 180's programs in 2 minutes or less? I do have a side gig as an auctioneer. Ready? Can I get a one? Can I get a one? Do we got two? Do we got two? Do we got two? Maybe three to the four to the five. Can I get a six? Can I get a six? Okay, 2 minutes or less. Here's the basic way that it functions. Referrals come into our organization from school partners, from system partners like prosecutors and community. From there, we have buckets of services that we provide. Diversionary practices like our workshops, where young people get community instead of a criminal conviction. School-based work, where we serve as an alternative to suspensions and expulsions and intervene so young people don't need to spend time out of school. They can stay engaged in school and get the support that they need. And then we have the work we do with young people who have been impacted by gun violence or are re-entering the community from living in spaces of incarceration. Once we engage young people in those settings, all of them are eligible for our aftercare programming, which consists of coaching for young people after they exit programming so we can help them honor their commitment to a new direction. It also consists of our summer program, our behavioral health specialist that's there to serve them, our counselor, as well as our advocacy program. And so succinctly, that's how that portion of it functions. We also have a large portion of our work that's around system change. And that's where our champion Carissa is leaning in and leading a lot of the legislative conversations about how things can be different if we live in a world where we elevate grace over guilt. And we have our community engagement team, which is constantly reaching out and finding new and unique ways to engage all of you so you can stay connected to us as we journey towards justice. How did I do? Was that about 2 minutes? I think I may have won there. What would be most helpful from people outside your immediate community? Look, this journey is inclusive of all, and we need as many people to jump on the train and push forward together. And so if you're outside of our immediate community, we have a couple things we got going on. So when I think outside of immediate community, I think like in other states and other regions. We actually began work last year offering coaching and technical assistance to other states, counties, and municipalities to help them do the work that we're doing here and give birth to it in their region by partnering with community and systems. We started a project in Salt Lake City, Utah, and we're beginning to grow that work in other places like Kansas, Missouri. And we're really excited about the possibility of what that looks like. So that's one thing. Like if there's people and stakeholders in the community that you live in where you believe they could benefit from programming like ours, lean in, and we may have an opportunity to be able to coach people up in that space so they can launch programming like that. Also, again, we host these virtual happy hours where we'll set up a time, all come and share, somebody from the team will come and share, and we'll invite people to join us on this journey and become invested in this as we begin to create a new pathway towards justice. Those are a couple ways that I think you can tap in if you're outside of our particular area. Let's see. Most inspiring youth story from this year. Too many, and that would not be fair for me to judge. What I would say is my daughter, Hope. Can I tell you this story? And it's kind of self-serving because it's about my daughter, but I'll tell you what I think is really cool. We have this woman on our team named Lamaria, who I first started supporting in programming when she was a 13-year-old in an internship program. And this summer, she interviewed my daughter at 13 for an internship program. And for me personally, that was one of the most inspiring moments to see this whole thing come full circle. Because when you do youth work and you serve young folks, it's always your dream that something you seed into them will give birth to a passion to give back in an intentional way. And I'm really grateful that my daughter got to benefit from Lamaria's giving back. How do you see people change when the systems, they are transform systems? How do you see people change when the systems, oh yeah. I think this part is really cool, but it's also really slow. We talk a lot about grace as an organization, and grace selectively applied is favoritism. Many of you have probably heard me say that before. So that means we must extend the same grace to our young people and families that we do to our prosecuting partners, police partners, superintendents. That's complicated and it's messy. But if we believe grace can transform the lives of young people, then we must believe that same grace has power to transform people who operate in systems of inequity. Now, I don't believe in reforming systems. Don't get me wrong. I believe in abolition. But what I do believe is the people who operate within those systems can be changed and evolve in their thought process and the way they see our shared humanity. And when they do, they begin to deconstruct the things within their organizations that cause harm to all of us outside of those spaces. And I believe that we can co-create a future together with those same stakeholders that operate within those systems where they no longer need to exist in the way that they do today. And we can believe that and begin to live into a system that's completely different and liberates us instead of incarcerates us. And I've seen that happen. I saw it happen with Pete Holmes. In fact, he texted me before the evening of choice today and offered an affirmation. I saw how they began to expand the types of young adults that we would support in our young adult diversion. I saw that happen with Dan Satterberg's office, and as we begin to become even more progressive in the types of young people we support. And even with all that change, we have a very, very long distance to go, because I believe in a world where we don't need courts and we don't need jails and we don't need policing. I believe in a world where we can care for each other, support each other, and lift up each other. Now, I know for some of you that sounds really aspirational, but if you don't live with the end goal in mind, then what are you living for? I probably have time for one more question, y'all. Let me pick one. Let me see. What's your vision for Choose 180's growth? I think about this often. I would love us to be an organization that develops leaders that go forth and transform the communities that they're a part of. I love for us to deepen the investment in the programming we're doing across the region, find ways to serve in Pierce and Snohomish County. Also to find new communities outside of our state and within our state that we can teach how to do what it is that we do and allow them to own it in their own way, so that way they can give birth to programming in their community that can transform their systems of injustice and support young people who have been harmed by them. Those are the things that I see. Developing leaders, growing leadership from within the cause, and then expanding the work regionally to serve more right here in our communities. And lastly, finding ways to expand nationally, not our programming, but this belief and this conviction that you can co-create solutions with system partners. And that can lead to abolition of those systems and a significant presence of programming and cared community members who can lift up that load and carry that burden that would otherwise be held by systems of incarceration that are antiquated and ultimately cause more harm than good. Those are the things that I see and the things that I believe in. Family, thank you. Thank you for staying connected to the chat. Thank you for staying plugged in. Thank you for continuing to journey with us. I love you. I care for you. And I can't wait to celebrate year number 11 as an organization and our 6th annual Evening of Choice in person next October. Y'all have a terrific evening. Take care of yourselves and your family. And remember, there is no greater vehicle for change than grace. Show some to yourself and certainly show some to others.